Well, we're at that point now. People are aware of what a disaster Sonic Racing Crossworlds has actually been, and they are outright acknowledging what the hype cycle behind this thing actually is. Because nobody wanted to play as Sonic racing around in a car. Nobody wanted to see Hatsune Miku. Nobody even knows who that is. Okay, Sonic Racing Crossworlds was only hyped up on NeoGAF, on Nintendo hate communities, and on Reddit because it was something that the community thought could be weaponized against Nintendo in Mario Kart World. That's it. In the online gaming community, people thought that this might be something that destroys Nintendo. But as we've seen time and time again, the online gaming community are a group of terminally online weirdos who do not influence the market, who don't play games, and have no idea what they're talking about. Sonic Racing Crossworlds did not only get outperformed by Mario Kart World, it straight up got raped by it. Like, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is one of the most embarrassing failures I have seen in recent years. Sonic Racing Crossworlds was outsold by Mario Kart World on the day of release. Mario Kart World sold more than Sonic Racing Crossworlds on the day that Sonic came out. If that tells you anything. Like, that's seriously, this is seriously supposed to be the big Mario Kart killer. This was supposed to be, Sega's defining moment. This was supposed to be Sonic's third good game in a row, if you include Sonic X Shadow, like Generations, and like I don't even know what the other game is, Sonic Frontiers, I think. Like, you're like, oh man, 3 whole games in a row. Whoa, that's gonna destroy like Mario's 40-year history of high quality content. Like, the Sonic thing was always a go. Okay, Sonic is a complete joke of an IP. And not only did I not play Crossworlds, not only do I not respect it, like, it really needs to be understood that this is the general format for every Sonic product ever. Is just every single time we see people prop up this idea that Sonic is going to make some glorious comeback and he's going to be some Mario's rival again. It's kind of like it is like the video game equivalent of that guy who peaked in high school, like, oh man, I was on the football team. Oh, I took the team to I don't know, semi state. Like, oh man, I was such hot shit back then. Oh, like Sonic is basically that. Like, he's constantly telling people that he's gonna get back at Mario, that he's gonna win, that he's gonna be some big deal, that he's some video game icon, and then like more and more people are starting to realize that, like, those days are behind you. You are never ever gonna recapture what you had at that point in time ever again. And that's kind of the problem with Sonic as a whole, is just, or actually, like, pretty much every single one of these like cartoony 3D mascot characters, like, they're all trying to be Mario. You see this with Crash Bandicoot sometimes, where you have people who genuinely will try and tell you that, like, Crash was bigger than Mario in the 90s, and that, like, oh, like, with these remakes he's gonna be back on top, and then it just doesn't happen. Because there's no talent behind these IPs. There's no passion. There's no creativity. There's no talent. Like, even if they have a one-off success, it doesn't lead in anything tangible. Like, just look at what happened with Sonic Mania. The best Sonic game ever for a lot of people, and it just completely just faded away. Like, better to burn out than to fade away. Like, that's kind of my mindset. Looking at this situation, is that, like, why exactly were we expected to believe that Sonic Racing Crossworlds would ever compete with Mario Kart? Like, why exactly were we ever led to believe that this was ever something that could happen, or should happen, or needed to happen? Like, why exactly are people who don't play Mario Kart, who don't play Sonic Racing Crossworlds, why exactly are so many people adamant that Sonic Racing Crossworlds needs to take the W? It is fueled entirely by Nintendo hate. It is fueled entirely by this mindset that Mario Kart World needs to fail and the Switch 2 with it, so Nintendo can collapse and they can stop producing hardware and they can start putting all their games on PC, so they can start putting nude mods on all the characters, especially the underage ones. That is the mindset of this community. And it really does need to be expressed more. Like, just how out of touch Sony fanboys actually are in regards to how relevant Nintendo IPs actually are. Because one of the things we're seeing a lot of in this day and age, like right now, is that this idea that, like, well, Switch 2 doesn't have any big games coming out. Nobody cares about Kirby. Nobody cares about Metroid. Nobody cares about Rhythm Heaven or Tamagotchi. Like, Tamagotchi is probably going to be one of the best selling games next year. Okay. Like, Tamagotchi is way bigger than people give it credit for, but like, I think that also though extends to Kirby Air Riders, which I think at this stage is guaranteed to sell significantly more than Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Like, forget Mario Kart. Like, it's not about that anymore. Like, Kirby Air Riders seems to be poised to beat Sonic Racing as well. So like, Sonic, like, forget competing with Mario. Sonic can't even compete with Kirby, who has like always been a B-string Nintendo character. Like, what exactly are you trying to prove by insisting Sonic is going to be some huge milestone racing game? I haven't even heard anyone bring up the possibility that Kirby Air Riders is going to outperform Sonic Racing Crossworlds. But like, seeing how poorly Sonic has done, I think it's undeniable at this point. Like, Kirby is a bigger IP than Sonic. There's just no getting around it. Like, Forgotten Land sold more than Frontiers without like having to go on sale regularly, with way more polish, and it was a far more well received game. Like, Kirby is a bigger IP than Sonic now, and there's just this weird kind of denial from people who grew up in the 90s that that's the case. Like, to them, Sonic is this video game icon, but the industry has moved on. People have moved past like these edgy anti-Nintendo kind of characters, and they've kind of more established more into like the actual stable nature of things. These guys always like celebrate all these obscure 3D platformer characters, but where's the love for Bonanza? Where's the love for Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Where's the love for Splatoon 3? All of that is way better than anything Crash, Spyro, or Sonic have ever been in. And that's just the trend that we've seen over the past several years, is that every time Sonic gets put into a mediocre game, like, it gets hyped up just for being Sonic, while like the far superior Nintendo games, games like Kirby, games like Splatoon, games like DK Bonanza get relatively ignored. And that is something that we as Nintendo fans really need to start calling out, because Sonic the Hedgehog is not a character that deserves any attention or respect in the current year. Like, the character is going to have to go through a massive retooling. They're going to have to fire everyone who works on the game, maybe a change of ownership in companies. But, if that were ever to happen, people wouldn't care anymore. Like, if Sonic was a Nintendo character, if it was the same exact thing, but on Nintendo consoles, you just know that nobody would care about it at all. It would just be seen as like a cheap Mario knockoff. And that at its core is really all that it's ever been. Sonic is just never, ever been on the same level as Super Mario.